Hello YouTube, my name's Emma and this is my art channel. So today's video is a watercolor painting and I've done it in my sketchbook. It is an Easter piece and I know that Easter means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So this is just what it means to me. When I was little, we used to all go to my nan's house and we would search for eggs in her front yard. And that's what this painting is based on. So I hope you enjoy it and like watching the process, if nothing else. But if you have any questions, let me know and let's get into it.
So it isn't often that I do art for myself, but I decided that I wanted to do a painting that I was going to enjoy doing, and I really took my time with it and didn't worry too much about making mistakes or anything like that. And I actually did have a lot of fun doing this piece. So you can see that I had done the sketch already, and I did that in my sketchbook with just a grey lead mechanical pencil, which was a Faber-Castell pencil. You can actually see it on the right hand side there, it's a green one. And then I'm just using a Faber-Castell India ink pen, and I'm using that because it is waterproof, it's a permanent pen, so when I do the watercolor in a moment it won't smudge or splodge everywhere all over the page. The actual scene that I'm drawing is two bunnies looking out from the porch to their little baby bunnies picking eggs in the garden. And I don't know what your traditions are where you're from, but where we are, we do egg hunts for Easter. And when I was little, we used to always go out into the garden. First thing in the morning, we'd go around the house and pick up all the eggs that the Easter bunny had left for us. And it was a lot of fun. And then we'd go over to our nan's house the same afternoon, and the Easter bunny had been to her house too. So it was really, really exciting day, a weekend, and we had a lot of fun doing that. It has been a very long time since I've been to my nan's house, and it's actually up for sale now, unfortunately, so I probably won't get to see it. I think they're actually demolishing it, which is a bit sad, but this picture I drew from memory, so everything in it is what I remember growing up and looking out the front porch at. She had this beautiful, beautiful garden. It was always full of flowers, and she was always out there watering it or doing the weeding and everything like that. So it was always very well kept, and it was a really good place to play in as a kid. So it was one of my favorite places to be. For the actual drawing, you've probably noticed that I don't do a lot of floral pieces or landscape pieces, and I actually surprised myself with this one because I didn't really think about what I was drawing until it was already half drawn. And then I was like, oh, I don't really know how to draw flowers. So I actually ended up going with a very sort of cartoony sort of style, which I think just worked really, really well. And as I said, I didn't worry too much about it. It wasn't for anything in particular apart from me, so I wasn't too scared to make a mistake, and it just made it really, really fun to play around with. And the actual plants, I was pretty happy with the way that turned out. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. And as I said, I don't do landscapes or backgrounds or anything like that very often, and I surprisingly didn't actually find this too hard to do. Like, it took a lot longer because there's a lot more detail in it, obviously, and a lot more parts to draw and sketch and think about, and especially when lining, because I did the sketch pretty sketchily. Like, I didn't actually draw in every line the way I wanted it to look, so trying to figure out what went on top of what and making sure that I didn't put lines over things that weren't meant to be there. I think the only part that I could have done better was the little boy bunny in the garden. His head is like in front of the tree, but it probably should have been behind the tree. But apart from that, that was sort of the only thing that I noticed that probably could have been done a little bit better in regards to the lines and placement and the depth of the piece. So in regards to the color, I noticed that when I do colors, I tend to stick with what colors are in the palette, and I really wanted to try and mix my colors a bit more and give it like a lot less saturation, I suppose. Just make it more watercolory. I don't really know how to explain that, but I think I achieved what I wanted to in doing that, because I mixed the colors really well. Like this was one of the greens, and then I mixed the yellow into it to make it more like grass. And my palette only has, I think, maybe 4 different greens in it, but I actually managed to make about, I don't know, 7 different sort of shades of green in the piece, which I thought I was really happy with that, because they all worked really well together and it gave it a little bit more depth and interest to like look at. So I thought that was really cool. And I didn't want to just use brown for the bark or the soil. I wanted it to, you know, have a bit of the yellow mixed into it that's in the grass, so that it sort of blended a little bit better. So I suppose my point is I thought about the color a lot more than I usually do, and I think that actually worked out really well. And I have been watching a lot of videos lately of different YouTubers doing different watercolor pieces and all of their different styles. So I guess just by watching them, I've picked up different things that I wanted to try, and I've actually put that into practice, and it's working really well. So I was really happy with that. But I showed my mum as soon as I'd finished what I'd created, and I said, "Can you guess whose garden it is?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." She could see it straight away that it was her mum's garden. So that was really exciting to know that I had managed to get my memory in check, and it was actually the way that it did look when we were younger. So I thought that was really cool. And I made sure that there was a magpie sitting in the bird bath, and I don't know if you have magpies where you are, but they are really, really common around here, and I remember them growing up. They were always in the front yard, and my nan would always feed them all the breadcrumbs and toast leftovers and things, and they used to always come, and you'd see them every year with new little babies. So yeah, that was a big part of the whole experience, so I made sure I added one of them in there. I didn't do his colouring very well because I didn't use reference, but I think you can tell what it is by looking at it. It's supposed to be a magpie. But yeah, I had a lot of fun creating this piece, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the process as I've gone through it all.
My thoughts on Easter and what we do around that time of the year. I hope you've enjoyed the piece of artwork that I've created today, and again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Any tips or tricks, always welcome. I will see you in my next video. Thanks guys, bye!